is, of course, Kimi Antonelli. And I want to preface this with saying that anybody who has sent any sort of negative comment or death threat or anything like that to Kimi Antonelli or anyone who represents him, you are the scum of the earth. You are not Formula One fans, and we do not want you here in this sport at all. It is utterly disgraceful. Not least of which, he's a child. He is a teenager, and you're sending him death threats. And no, he did not do that deliberately, because can you imagine a world where Toto Wolff would be perfectly happy with his customer engine winning all of the championships while his car is floundering? Coops, in your best angry Scotsman, have a go with people having a go at Kimi Antonelli.
Would you just fuck off?
Then look, I don't want to add any fuel into this, but there was a number of things that was going on there, and to single out Kimi is just ridiculous. Like you could look at signs. You can say, did he back off to throw some dirty air at Kimi? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not. I preface this of, don't be an asshole. No, do not target any driver, especially any children. Like, but you can look at everything here. You can look at Hadjar, who, like, surely if you're on the Red Bull pit wall, you're screaming, pull over. Like, just park it. Park it in the middle of the track. Bring out a safety car or VSC, neutralize the race. What are you doing? Just stop the car. You're looking at Sainz, who's pulling back, who Sainz has in the past done stuff like this because he's aware of what's around him to influence on the race. Like, he is a much more kind of racecrafty driver.
Yeah, but he didn't do Singapore for Lando's benefit. He did that for his own benefit.
Exactly. But like, it's not as if he doesn't see what's around him. But, like, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying it was Sainz did that to Kimi or whatever, but like, there was a number of permutations going on in that last lap or two to single out a single driver to say that they're doing something to benefit their customer, or sorry, not even their customer of, like, you know, it doesn't make sense. So to single that, it's just wrong and horrific. It just needs to stop.
It's also just not something that's seen in Formula One, and I know we say a lot, and we sort of kind of joke and tease that, you know,
Flavio the V-carb is back though. So well, I mean,
okay, well, but the likes of like the V-carbs and the Toro Rossos, they always get out of the way of the Red Bulls, and that's not strictly true. They don't pull over or just like slow all the way down. They don't put up a fight, but then you could look at it purely on a technical point of view. Why would they? The Red Bull is usually quicker than the V-carb. It hasn't been this year, but it usually is. So why would they bother fighting it if they're coming through? They're just going to move out of the way. And it's usually they're being lapped. So why would they stay in the way for any longer than they have to? So that's one argument out of the way. When it comes to everything, and that's two teams owned by the same company, there isn't anything else of the sort in Formula One. Mercedes has no say whatsoever in what McLaren or Aston Martin or Williams do. None at all. And if you're going to get all technical and tinfoil hatty, then Toto Wolff was on the phone to Carlos Sainz saying, slow down and let them both pass, because then my driver can get ahead and have the podium, and Lando can get ahead and get a better chance. It's utter malarkey. It's totally fucking ridiculous. But you know, I feel bad for Kimi. He drove brilliantly all weekend, and actually I've said George Russell is like the dark horse of this season. He's been brilliant all year. The past couple of races, Kimi Antonelli has been by a distance the better Mercedes driver. He's been excellent the past few weeks. He deserves all the plaudits. I'm much more excited to see his future now than I was over the summer when he was struggling a little bit. And I think that's what we need to focus on. He is still 18, 19. He is still a kid. He only passed his actual civilian driver test in August. You know, and he's up here getting podiums and sprint pole positions in Formula One. It's ridiculous.
Went wide as well. Only a few moments later.
Exactly. It happens. Those tires. We were seeing it with a lot of them. Carlos Sainz didn't slow down because he wanted to help Lando. Carlos Sainz slowed down because his tires were evaporating. And he was, oh no, on the radio, which is the best radio message I've heard all year. It was absolutely hilarious. But there's no conspiracy here. Kimi was under a lot of pressure from Lando on much fresher tires. And it's hard to overtake in Qatar unless you make a mistake. And what Lando did, what he had to do, he pressured Kimi into making a mistake. That is not a slight on Kimi Antonelli. That is not Lando was picking up the phone saying, will you get him out of the way, lads? And nor is it Lando hit Kimi. There was no illegalness in this whatsoever. There's no conspiracy whatsoever. Kimi made a mistake on old tires under a lot of pressure. It happens. Timo Glock did not let Lewis Hamilton through in 2008. Kimi Antonelli did not let Lando Norris through this year. Now, it means a lot for the championship, which we get into in our Abu Dhabi preview, but
Oh, Coops
no
has
hate on
something.
Kimi Antonelli.
Oh,
Go
Coops.
Coops.
Right, the reason this is as bad as it is because Red Bull did it.
Yes, that's a very good point, actually. This actually is
That's-
completely Red Bull's fault. GP Ambiasi said it on the radio. I think he said it jokingly. If you listen back, he was joking. He was absolutely joking. But then Helmut Marko, because he's the worst person in the fucking world, came out in the media. And I was only saying a couple of weeks ago that ever since Laurent Mekies is there, we haven't heard from Helmut Marko. He must have heard me because he thought, oh, hang on, I haven't had a conversation about me in a while. I'm going to say something really fucking stupid and anger everybody. Oh, I hate that man with a passion.
Yeah, it's just it was obviously said in a bit of jest by JP, but you kind of can't do that knowing your own fan base because they're going to latch onto it, and they did, and then Helmut Marko just needs to go away. But they've released a statement, Oracle Red Bull Racing. Now, I wonder if you guys could notice what's actually missing from this statement. Comments made before the end of and immediately after the Qatar Grand Prix suggesting that Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli had deliberately allowed Lando Norris to overtake him are clearly incorrect. Replay footage shows Antonelli momentarily losing control of his car, thus allowing Norris to pass him. We sincerely regret that this has led to Kimi receiving online abuse.
Zero apology.
Bingo!
ChatGPT, we need something that makes it look like we're sorry, but that screams. Remember that South Park episode where BP are apologizing for the oil spill? We're sorry, sorry. That's what that is.
Yeah,
And I'm
just
not excusing Red Bull for this at all, but this comes back to a bit. I know you guys spoke about this before, but it comes down to Formula One decide what gets broadcast, and they're as much as Red Bull shouldn't be sending messages like that, knowing that it can get into the public and they've got a crazy ass fan base who are liable to do crazy shit. But Formula One have a responsibility here too, especially if like they're going to be the ones that are going to hold the drivers to community service for stuff that they say. Like Formula One needs to take a bit of responsibility for stuff that they're going to air that could cause situations that arise like this too.
I feel like this is the drive to survive phenomenon taken to just a different level. Because it's like I said with the sprint, they're trying to push, not a narrative, but they're trying to push the marketability of Formula One, which is ridiculous. I mean, it already is Formula One, but yeah, they're just trying to make a spectacle when sport and racing is a spectacle. So I'm with you 100%.
If you enjoyed that clip, you can head over to Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, to listen to our full review of the Qatar Grand Prix right now. There's a link below, link everywhere below, or link up there in the corner as well. Head over, listen to the full review of the Qatar Grand Prix. And while you're on YouTube, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell. We'll be back in a couple of days with our preview of Abu Dhabi, the championship decider. We'll be back soon. Bye now.